cap, they fucked up this time.
Welcome back to another episode of More Than Music with your host Andrew Kazir, the owner and editor of Upstate Aesthetic. More Than Music is an interview series put together for Black Hills State University and Upstate Aesthetic to help myself and the listeners get to know some of the unique and incredible artists from upstate New York. This week we are joined by MBK Richy, an artist from Auburn, New York, who is undoubtedly bar for bar one of the top lyrical artists in New York. He's an artist that I didn't know at all when this all started, but over the last year and a half has become a really great friend, so I'm excited to have this conversation. Richy, how you doing? What have you been up to today?
Pretty good, man. Appreciate you having me. Ain't nothing, man. Cooling. Went to work earlier. That's about it. Came home, chilled with my daughter. You know, usual moves.
Facts. I feel that. That's always a good time, though. Just some time to chill with the daughter. I can relate to that entirely. It's always nice to kick back and relax with the family sometimes.
Yeah, take a little off. You know how that go.
Facts. The purpose of More Than Music is to get to know you a little bit more. I work with a lot of artists from upstate New York, and fortunately I do know a little bit more about you than most, but that's still relatively limited, and for some of the listeners, they might not know anything beyond the music, so we always end up getting back to music. But first, let's just get to know a little bit more about you, Richy. So maybe start with how old you are, where you're from.
Yeah, I'm from Auburn, New York. Small little town outside of Syracuse. I'm 28. You know what I'm saying? Auburn ain't a big spot for music, and there's not a lot of artists that, you know what I'm saying, pursue music in a serious manner. From Auburn, outside of Siege. I'm not sure if you heard of him. He had an untimely passing. Rest in peace to Siege. And yeah, so it's tough, man. Auburn's small and it's tough.
Yeah, man, and that's kind of how it is a lot of times around upstate, because people think about New York, especially when I moved out of New York. They hear New York, they think of New York City. But there's a lot of upstate towns and smaller towns where there's not a whole lot like that going for it. So it's probably a little bit different trying to get into music in Auburn than it is in other areas in New York.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I live in Syracuse now, just for job purposes, but like just seeing the difference in how music's approached just from that 30-minute drive is crazy.
Facts. And so before we get into music and talk about music, let's talk about a little bit before that. And so what was it like just growing up in Auburn? What was school like? Were you a popular kid? Did you play sports?
I was kind of popular, you know what I'm saying? It was on the smaller side, like I said, so everybody kind of knew everybody. I was more popular just because we played like sports and all that. We played football, basketball, you know, the normalities. It was simple, man. Auburn ain't much going on. Nothing really crime worthy, so it's not like it's a bad spot. It's just a quiet, you know what I'm saying, middle place stuck right in the middle. A lot of people like think it's like country and there's mad farms and stuff, but it's just a small little suburb city. School's cool. Not too big, you know what I'm saying? We had one high school. Ended up cutting it down to one middle school, but we had two middle schools, 5 elementary. So, I mean, it was all right. It wasn't too bad. It's like a little perfect spot to grow up, you know what I mean? Not too much going on, nothing dangerous, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't complain about none of that. That sounds all right. And what about after high school? Did you go to college?
Yeah. So, yeah, before I started pursuing music, I did go off to college. I went to like 4 or 5 colleges for I wasn't ready to leave to go to no damn college at the end of the day, but ended up going, shuffled around, ending up at Cortland, and I ended up graduating. Graduating in 2015.
That's what's up. And so what was that process like? Because I can really relate to the idea of going to college initially right out of high school, really not being ready, but that's what society tells you to do, so you kind of go for it, and it's not what you're ready for. So how did that work out for you?
It was terrible, bro. like just like you said, they be pushing you out the door, especially as a black dude. Like our area ain't used to like seeing kids, black kids, male specifically, with grades good enough to, you know what I'm saying, go to like majority of the colleges. So once they seen that, they're like, yo, just go to college. And I got there and I'm like, all right, I'm here. What the fuck am I doing, basically? So yeah, it was bad. It was kind of a setback. I would have liked to sit back and groom it more. You know what I mean? Because I jumped right head into it, and then I got there and they know what I was doing, homesick, all that extra stuff. But I was able to finish. That's a good part.
Yeah, no doubt. And for me, it was just one of those things of like I couldn't. I wanted to go to school for that, but I didn't really want it that bad. So because I didn't want it bad enough at the time, it just became something I put on the back burner, didn't take seriously, and now I'm about to finish it up many years later with a second opportunity, and I'm glad about that. But I think initially, right out of high school, it's not always the smartest thing to just rush right into that, especially if you don't got the right idea on your shoulders. So.
Yeah, nah, especially with the culture switch too. Like, I'm used to being around my people. You know what I mean? I'm kind of a more introverted type of person anyway, compared to the normal college person. So, you know what I mean, all the extra stuff didn't throw me. I'd rather been back at home with my family and stuff.
Yeah, I could relate to that too. And talking about family, you mentioned earlier you've got a daughter. What's that like, just being a dad growing up? How has that changed your life a little bit, I guess?
Definitely changed the mindset. You know what I'm saying? Every all the extra little leeway that you kind of have kind of gets taken out, and you gotta make sure you're moving in the correct way as far as providing wise, your ambitions wise. You know what I'm saying, and taking care of the little one, which is priority. But it definitely switches up how you move a lot, schedule your time better, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's a big thing about it, especially is just scheduling your time around having a child. Like before we even put together this interview, I had to be like, all right, I got to get my daughter set aside so that way we have time to do this. And it's just the process that you don't think about at all when you don't have a kid. Once you have a kid, you appreciate those moments of time where you're just able to relax and not have to worry about what your kids got going on because you've got them with the right person or whatever. So.
Yeah, nah, that's definitely a fact. It's always in the back of your head. You know what I'm saying? So like, even if you is trying to go to the studio for a day, you know what I'm saying, and zone out and lock in, you're still gonna think a little bit. So yeah.
Exactly. That's the crazy part too. Is you even when you get those moments of just a couple of hours alone or whatever, it's still like you said in the back of your mind, just back there for you. So I could definitely relate to that as well. So it's definitely been a
Definitely.
process for me, just over the last couple of years, becoming a father, like transitioning from the lifestyle of just doing whatever the hell I want now to worrying about another person is very different.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely life changing. I'm going through the same thing. I'm with you.
And so, how did you get introduced to music? You mentioned that it wasn't super popular, I guess, in Auburn, or it wasn't as it's not the same as it is in Syracuse. So, how did you get introduced to it there?
Um, my man Doc, that's my cousin. I told y'all that last time I spoke with y'all. His mom was dating some rapper from Cuse actually, and he used to always just make me and Doc battle because because he used to get into it. So he used to make us battle, write us rhymes and all that. We had a little karaoke machine with the mic. We used to record over tapes and all that. We kind of just fell into the shit, like just seeing it. That's what we was attracted to. You know what I'm saying? MTV, BT videos. You know what I'm saying? That attracted us. So it's basically seeing one to do type of thing. And then we kind of just got to the point where we kept recording on the karaoke thing. Ran into my man Cap. We ended up meeting him at a very young age. Um, and he had the same love for music. He was a little older though, so his love for music kind of bled off onto me and kind of made me love it. So I just stuck with it, and I was good at it. So I just kept freestyling. You know what I'm saying? That kind of was my niche.
Yeah, and that's something that I've noticed in doing this interview series, talking to people, is it's become a situation of one, family introduces you in some way, but then beyond that, you either have family that you connect with, or people who become like family that you work with in the music industry. That's what pushes you really. It's very hard to do this on your own. It's not impossible, but those relationships are a big part of what help keep people going, I think.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. And when we started our campaign, that's all it was about was coming together as one. You know what I'm saying? Keeping the same mindset, making sure we all got the same objectives. Because if you're pushing as a team, like you said, it's way easier. Alone is way too hard, man. It's just too much, especially once you get to the next level of music, past just making the music and wanting to do other stuff. It's a lot. Them relationships is vital.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you started working in Syracuse and started making music in there, what did you notice in terms of the shift in the music culture when you started working over there?
Yeah, so Auburn, like I said, it's small. They don't really have no venues. They don't do a lot of hip hop shows. We had ours, you know what I'm saying? There was artists in Auburn, but it was more of a local type thing. And if you were able to garner some attention out there, and that usually was enough for some people. But like just moving to Syracuse, it was and just seeing how they move. I don't really partake in none of their stuff out here really. I still go back to Auburn to do all my shit, but just seeing all the opportunities like networking now with these artists and seeing what the stuff they be doing, and like every other week there might be a hip hop event, or there's two or three studios, 4 or 5, you know what I'm saying, opposed to just one, if that, in a spot. And it's just more widely accepted, more venues accepted, and Auburn venues be scared of hip hop, all that type of stuff. So it's just more accepted.
Right. And so over the last couple of years, have you noticed just in general upstate New York getting more opportunities for artists?
For sure, for sure. Then like we've been rapping for a minute, so like I've been probably recording since I was like 13, and just seeing the way stuff switch, and it's a result of social media and technology and all that. But definitely it's like multiple blogs, there's mad coverage. There's a whole bunch of different series, different shows, a bunch of different people doing their thing. So it's definitely getting heated up here.
Yeah, it's nice just to see a real buzz going on in all of the areas. It seems like every city, even the ones that we haven't necessarily tapped into, like Albany. I just started listening to some people from Albany that are really killing it. I'm like, damn, this is a whole other untapped scene for upstate that just has bumping artists. And I think there's more than just the towns that we have worked with too. So it's very crazy to see it's consistent almost across the board throughout New York. So
Yeah, nah, that's for sure. And then especially started working with y'all, and I'm looking at the artists you guys had, and I never heard of any of them, and they're fairly close to me. And then so I'm thinking I'm getting put on, and then I find a different blog series, and they got a whole bunch of artists that's not even on our plateau that we don't even know about. Like you said, the Albany, Utica area, and it's like it's crazy, man. There's so many talented people upstate.
yeah, that's something that blows my mind too. Shout out to some of the other blogs. This is Upstate is one that I see on Instagram a lot. They do a really good job at putting me on to people that I'm not totally in tune with. Like you said, almost on the other side of the state or something. So it's very cool that it's not just Upstate aesthetic either. There's various blogs, there's various venues now accepting it more. It's something I'm glad to hear as well. So it's cool that Upstate New York really has that buzz going for them.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
And you mentioned you've been rapping for a long time. Let's talk about your time in battle rap because this is something I really have wanted to talk to you about since this morning because I took a deep dive in before this interview so that way I knew what I was getting myself into and I found some battle raps that I was really impressed by. So I want to talk about this just like why did you decide to jump into that realm? Why did you jump out? But first, what got you into it?
Um, we always peep battles since we was young, high school, middle school, the old smack joints, the Philadelphia battles. So we was always in tune. And then when I was in Mills Gang, I think I was like 16 or 17. Me and Stretch Mills was just like cooling out, and we found Utica had posted a battle league, and they were like, "Oh, send a direct message, and you can get a battle." So we was like, "Yo, fuck it, let's do it." And we went out there, and they gave us two slouches because we came out of nowhere, and nobody know who we were, and then we smoked them. And I started from there, man. I was battling for a good like 2 to 3 years. Um, it was fun. Definitely liked it.
And it's dope just because like that was almost I don't want to say ahead of its time because there was obviously battle rap stuff like that going on YouTube and stuff, but compared to what it is now, like it's cool to see that you had that opportunity back then to do something that people were able to tune into online and check you out even way back then, so it's very cool.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I like having that background. A lot of people don't even know, especially the new people and connections I'm making now. They won't even think like Canada didn't even know. He was like, "Hold on, you battle?" I was like, yeah, I used to. But yeah, now we was making a good little run, man. I was traveling to other states and stuff. It was definitely good, and that I like bars, so that's kind of where some of my intricacies and songwriting came in. Was just kind of figuring out how to use them different metaphors and schemes and make it song worthy. So make it music instead of just sounding like a battle rapper.
That makes sense. And so back then, were you just strictly battle rapping, or were you making music as well, or was that kind of the start?
No, we was making music. We were recording as Mills Gang back then. Me, Dot, and Stretch Mills. I had and Kane was in there too. My man Cap, and yeah, I was in a couple of groups just kind of around Auburn. Like I said, there was a couple, so like every group of Auburn we kind of was in. But yeah, so we was making music the whole time. Uh, while we was doing them battles, we was putting out mixtapes, not online or anything, but just physical copies and all that. So it was simultaneous.
That's dope. And so why did you just sort of pull out of the battle rap scene? Was it just you wanted to focus more on music in general?
Yeah, and like the next, it's funny, but I keep it real with myself. Like the next step and where I was about to go was where I was aiming to go was like the smack scene and all that. And being a light skinned nigga from Auburn, it's hard to get past on the stage with some of the big names and where they're coming from and just the perceptions of small places and all that. It's a lot of extra writing and fighting I would have had to do. So
No, that's
I kind of just
interesting because it's not necessarily something that someone who's not super privy to battle rap might think of, but you're right. Like it makes sense that that would be something a whole extra challenge for you coming out of Auburn into something like that. It makes sense.
yeah, nah, for sure. So I was just like, yeah, I could, and plus battle rap started evolving. Like I get into it with bars. I'm nasty. I think of myself as one of the best, but some of them battle rappers, man, the stuff they be thinking about is crazy, and it's just like I'm being realistic. If I'm gonna aim for something, I'm gonna want to be the best, and that best up there is kind of rough.
Yeah, that's a fact. That it's a whole different realm at the top of that scene. So I don't blame you for that one. And so after that, because when did you stop in battle rap? Like 2013, 2014?
Yeah, I stopped. I went to college, and then I took like probably two more battles, two or three spotty, and then I kind of fell back. I kind of fell back from music too for like a year and a half, and then we regathered. We friends anyway, but me and Cap sat down and we was talking about it, and we was like, yo, let's just give it another shot, but for real this time, and really give our best shot at it so we don't regret it later on in life. And then we kind of picked it up from there.
That's dope, dude. And so during that time off, were you just sort of focusing in on school and what you had going there, and really trying to take a hold of that? Because, like you said, you had previously done college, right?
Yeah, I was just finishing college during
All
that
right.
time, and a whole bunch of shit was going on. Like I tore my Achilles, all types of weird shit. So I was just kind of falling back, and then filling out kind of what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And then I just kind of started posting freestyles online and stuff, and it clicked.
Is that and so that was sort of the beginning of Richie season, which dropped in 2017, right?
Yep. That bled into the Richie Season album, and that was my first project, kind of official project online and available.
And so how was that putting that together? Like go back to putting together your first project after dabbling in music for a while, doing the battle rap thing, going back to college. You're really taking it seriously now and putting together this first project. How was that?
It was exciting, man, because we were students, we heavy students. Everything we do is trying to learn the in and outs. Like so, when we came in 2017, our goal was to put out some work so I can have something up online when people go to search me. Number one, number two was to build info. So we was taking a lot of trips. I went to New York City like three times, Atlanta, Boston. I was all over just doing them nut showcases, one-on-one A&R things. And this was all during the time of me recording Richy season. So once we said we was gonna take it serious, we just started doing mad stuff, and it was exciting, man. A lot of different stuff was happening. I was getting in a lot of different rooms, but at the same time, we knew we wasn't ready to take no steps or none of that. And we seen that the first time that we actually stepped out and went to like a New York City event with other artists and seen what was going on. So it was definitely exciting. I was rapping good. The music was sounding good. So it definitely had promise, and it brought the city together, because Auburn don't really push people like that. So the love I received from it was enormous, and it was motivating.
That's dope. It's dope to hear that the city came out and supported you, because that's always a difficult thing sometimes in the upstate area, just in general, is trying to get enough people to support something that is good. So it's dope to hear that. Do you think that it was helpful or fundamental to get out of the New York area early on and go to different places like Atlanta, and get to meet other people and sort of see outside of just the New York landscape?
Yeah, it was, and it was everything basically, because we didn't take them trips and figure out that we was on the whole wrong path and we had the whole wrong idea how to approach this thing. I probably would have been washed by now, to be honest. But just seeing how different it is, and how fan bases work, and marketing and all this extra stuff. It was eye opening. We went down there with nothing at first, and everybody else in that room had something, and
Right.
it was just like, oh shit, like damn, we wasn't prepared for this. But yeah, if we didn't step out, then we wouldn't have gotten anywhere.
And how did you get those opportunities in general to be able to go out? Like, was it just the internet, networking on social media, that type of thing?
No, I got a guru. Shout my man DC. Uh, he seen we was taking it serious, and he seen half of Richie season was recorded with him. He has a studio, ABP, who we're now in a partnership with. But we did half of Richie season there. Both of my first two projects, and Rich too. And he just seen how serious we was taking it. So he kind of just pointed me in a couple of right directions, and I just made the best of it. I got in
Sometimes
the doors I could.
that's dope. And sometimes those relationships are fundamental. Were you able to make more like that along the way through this process that you sort of kept with you through that time?
Yeah, all that stuff, like on the surface, like when you first leave to do some of the stuff, you think, oh, I'm gonna come back with a deal. I'm gonna come back with a deal. And it's definitely not it. It's definitely not that, and that's not what he was sending us to do that stuff for. It was to build the connections, and I definitely got a couple of good ones that was instrumental to everything I'm doing now.
That's dope, man. And you mentioned you followed that project up with Enriched. Was that just sort of the same process where you just were continuing on the grind of making more music and wanted to put something else out?
Yeah, I was trying to fire heavy. I think that was in 2017 also. Yeah, it was later that year. So I was just trying to, like I said, I had nothing on the internet, but I had a lot of raps. So I was like, yeah, let me just get this together. We started doing things right, started buying beats. Um, Enriched, I worked on at a different studio, my man ZPT's, and it kind of went haywire. His hard drive crashed
Ooh.
a week or two before I had to put it out, and all the music was lost. So we re-recorded Enriched in a week, and then they took like 5 days to edit it, and we just released it. But yeah, it was kind of the same process, same flow. We were still going places, still doing a whole lot of shows and stuff. So
That's so easy to look back on now, but how crushed were you then? Like you get the information that all those files are lost and you got to get back in there and redo it.
yeah, nah, that was bad. I was panicking for sure. We had a video done and everything. The I Got a video. That was the single for that. We had it lined up and everything, and then that happened, and it was just like, oh damn. But like I said, I was wild excited back then, You know what I'm saying? And ambitious. So I'm like, all right, I could probably do it better. I mean, but for
Right.
better or worse, some of the first one was a little bit better.
And then you follow that up in 2018 with Narcissus. This project is a really dope project. It's one that I see people still talking about now. How is it to have fan feedback on projects that you dropped a couple years ago that maybe you don't even go back to listen to as much, but people still are?
It's great, man. Narcissus is still my number one played, number one streamed album. And that's when I made my switch from Richy to MBK Richy, just to add the sauce to it. I was MBK the whole time, but that's when I made that change. And yeah, now I love that album. It's probably my favorite project. I wish we could have got it sounding a little bit better, but nah, that was definitely, I love that project.
And like you so what do you say you wish you would have gotten it sounding better? Do you think that you had to rush that one at any point, or you just didn't get it sounding right then and now you look back on it and want to change some things? Or
Oh no, it was just in our growth too. So as the whole time as I'm growing as an artist and putting out these projects, um, my man Cap was putting together his studio, but he had good equipment, but we knew we needed, if we wanted to sound good, we knew we needed to upgrade it. So we took I was doing these projects, excuse me, the first two at other studios, and then meanwhile he was upgrading his and upgrading his mixing craft. So Narcissus, we came out and we used our stuff and it was good and it sounds good, but
it's like
now
the
where we
beginning
are and hearing where
stages.
we are now, it's like damn, if we had those songs sounding the way we sound now, it would have been even extra crazier. But uh, all in all, that project it's definitely good. The content and that is lovely.
Nah, yeah, that's a fact. I was listening to that earlier today, getting ready for this interview. The next project you dropped in 2019, Primetime, it's a little bit different, right? You were trying to go in a bit of a different direction than you generally were prior to that, right?
Yeah, that's what the whole primetime ploy was in the cover. And one end I had Dion in football gear, and on the other half I had him with baseball. So it's basically baseball is a lighter sport. You know what I'm saying? It's no contact, and football is more gritty. So it's kind of I can do both type of ordeal, and that's why there was other songs that were a little bit out of my element that I, I think a lot of them songs was really good, man. I feel where we were editing wise wasn't up to par for where those songs were, um, skill wise. You know what I'm saying, and what it took to make those songs sound good. But I thought I like Prime Time. It's one of my favorites. It's probably my top three.
I like it too, and it's just it's interesting to hear you sort of took a specific approach to do something a little bit different on this project. Uh, and then you follow that up with Richie season 2, which is you then returning, I guess, to your roots. Was that something that you had to deliberate on, or was that sort of the whole plan from the beginning? Was you were going to try something new with Primetime earlier in the year, and then later in the year drop Richie season 2?
Yeah, Prime Time was definitely. I was like, I gotta throw one out there just to show some versatility, cause I keep rapping, even though Rich had a little bit, but I listen to a lot of different music. I don't just listen to straight hip hop. Like I listen to a lot of like Toronto R&B, um, and like lo-fi, some black type shit. But and I hear it, and I know I could write songs like that. I just don't know if I can get my voice to sound as good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like I'm like I want to do it, so I'm gonna just do it anyway. And plus I'll add a little layer to my artistry so people can see I'm not just a 16 bar for bar artist type of thing.
No doubt. And so Richie season 2 being a follow-up project, did you feel like you had to do stuff the same way you did with your first project, or was that just sort of doing the you like the name so you wanted to follow it up?
Nah, I wanted originally for to drop a Richie season every like December to March. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No matter what I did the rest of the year, I wanted to make sure that was a project straight back to the bars. But after coming off Prime Time, like I definitely wanted to like, all right, I'm done with the other shit right now. Let's just get back. You know what I'm saying? Let's get back to the bars and the content. So yeah, I jumped definitely back in that with that intention, but it was more or less planned.
That makes sense. And so you mentioned that that was something you had planned to do in a December to March type of thing, and that's not necessarily the plan this year, right?
No, just because I'm gonna skip that and work on a bigger project.
Right. And that bigger project is Divine, right? That's the one that we're going to be talking about here in a minute. I'm going to play a track that you sent me off of that project before we talk about it. You want to tell us a little bit about this track, the name of it, and all that?
Yeah, this is actually a freestyle. This not even gonna make it.
Oh,
But
okay.
this probably this probably I just love this song, and this one I've been working on. Me and Doc got a project we're sitting on. We're trying to figure out how we want to deliver it right now. This was my solo off of that project, but it's more or less to get the grittiness out because on Divine, I'm going to be doing a lot of rapping, but it's not going to be as gritty. So
Okay.
I just want to get that in the face of and my fans and my core that likes when I get in that mood. So yeah, this one of my joints, man.
We'll play this, and then because I do want to hear about that project you got with Dot and your plans for that as well. So we'll talk about that here in a minute as well.
Bet.
Not a chance. Rappers fall back, let me kick it with you. Niggas wash like worn jeans, the fade is sticking with you. Picture Richie not getting with you. Not a chance, it's simple. Simple niggas just not advanced. Write your little singles and jingles, think you the man and shit. I guess the victory flawless, they never landed hit. Bitches too funny with words, Tiffany had a shit. Meanwhile, my verses and passages turn to sacraments. We way different than these studio rappers. Cause I'ma go see him first to hit the studio act. My book, a lot of pages, I done been through some chapters. 1 or 2 jerseys up in the Raptors. Me and Siege, Rich, you might have went too far. That's what they need. The longer they ignoring the cut, longer they bleed. What's it really take to succeed? A lot of confidence and motivation. Only kill yourself with degree. Ain't no other way to play it but ride. For coronavirus, Richie pandemic got him staying inside. Too hostile, only diamond at the top like my Bible. Ain't saying that I'm God, but I'm the perfect apostle. Let him tell it, Rich too cocky, arrogant probably. They don't mention all the hate and sneak disses that doubt me. Even family talk down and act iffy about me. This much envy usually ends in a bounty, but they can do it without me. So I'm feeling like the devil on the road to get me. Even though the Lord knows he too slow to get me. Divine work, they gon' have to find a cross and pin me. The aura blue like bad winds, like rolling 60s. My whole crew is kamikaze, they rolling with me. A cop shoot me in the burning, they gon' burn the city. Many men wanna see me dead, I'm thinking 50. Never mattered, all they clips and they threats is empty. Wanna know a secret, I ain't stopping soon. My stay gon' be a couple days, somebody cop a room. They gon' feel some type of way, and I'm like, fuck it, cool. But waiting on my downfall, something you shouldn't do. They gon' be waiting a long time. The ETA, DMV, wait, I got long lines. This energy I'm manifesting here is a hard find. Like hope in a dark time. Probably safe to say that this all mine. I'm watching the money stack, they watching the throne. The virus got them inside, I know them niggas home. The vaccine that I'm taking, we didn't Patron. That boy rich, like your uncle, that's crazy, leave him alone. I grew up on the locks, cuz taught me how to box. So there never was a need to talk crazy on the phone. Hip-hop connoisseur, learned this on my own. If I was watching CNN, it was Nori and Capone. Ask around, niggas familiar with my vernacular. The punches be insane, verbiage spectacular. The overheads be missing you, flaws they're minuscule. Content so real, it be sounding like I'm dissing you. Guess I'm in a different mood. Better say your shots, I ain't fit to lose. Run up in your session, make an interlude. Rapping sounding stupid like Trump doing the interviews. Your bitch had me over, I wrote the shit in your living room.
Ooh, that's some heat. So you
You got to listen to that over the bags?
Bro, so you said that's off a project that is coming or isn't coming, or you don't know when it's coming?
That project with Doc,
Yeah.
it's we don't know how we want to release it yet. We don't know if we want to go through the DSPs or make it a SoundCloud release or how we want to do it. But it's done.
How is it figuring out that process, especially working with someone else on a collaborative project? Is it difficult trying to figure that out, or?
Yes, especially with my man Dot, man. He's tough to communicate with. Now, I'm just kidding, but it's definitely it's tough because if you're gonna put it out on the DSPs and you want to do it the right way, you got to, you know what I'm saying, you got to go get the beats, you got to get the licenses, and all that good stuff, and get everything dialed in and make sure both artists have their name on everything and that their BMIs and all that set up. So it's definitely a little tougher, but in that I feel like the project it's a great project. You're gonna like it. I feel like we could do a lot better, but I feel like we offered it with a date that was like October 31st to the first week of November. So we try to deliver on that date, but it's still a great project. So we're doing something with it. I just don't know what.
Right, and I'm looking forward to it, man, absolutely, but I can understand just the difficulty in trying to figure out all of the background stuff. Probably a lot of stuff people don't think about going into dropping a project on Spotify. They probably think it's simple as uploading it, but you actually have a lot of more steps to go through than just uploading something. So, and then you add in a whole nother person and want to make sure everything is set up properly, and then want to make sure you own everything properly. It's a much bigger process than I think people think about.
Yeah, nah, people definitely think it's easy, and some people can make it easy. You know what I'm saying, if they don't want to do it the right way. But I need all my streams and all that to register, so I'm gonna take the extra time.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. People should take their extra time with whatever they got going on, especially music. When you've taken the time to make it, take the time to put it together and release it in a way that's going to be productive, where you're getting everything from it that you've put into it.
Yeah, nah, for sure. That's the biggest piece, man. That's the biggest lesson of it all. Like the mixes, the drops, the marketing behind it. Like that's overstress it. They always tell people it's the most important thing, but a lot of artists just look over it like, yeah, if I'm hot, I'm hot. Yeah, I mean, but it's definitely not that. That stuff matters.
Shit, so some artists get on that aren't hot, that aren't that talented, but are very good at the marketing aspect, at networking and connecting with the right people and all of that shit, and take the time and all of that, and their music really doesn't sound good, but everything else works, so that's how they take off.
Yeah, nah, for sure. It's everything nowadays, man. As long as you know how to market yourself and the places to go and the moves to make, it kind of really, you know what I'm saying?
It's one thing I feel like a lot of artists, like not just in the upstate area, but local artists in general, they fall into that issue where they create the music, they like it so much, they think they did such a good job. Yeah, you want to show it off, but they forget that that's only half of the actual project. You have to put more into it to get everyone to see it. If you just want your direct following to see it, that's one thing, but when you want it to reach out more or just get the right feedback from it, you got to do a lot more than just dropping it, making it, and dropping it.
Yeah, that's the one right there, man. That's the one right there, Drew. Man, I see that so much. I be trying to tell people. I be trying to tell them, like, man, just relax, let that simmer for a while, make any changes, set up what you got to set up first, and then let it go. But that instant gratification be getting people, so.
No doubt. And
Definitely.
again, I get it. I totally understand. But if people were to just wait a little bit and sit on the music, and like I said, if you like it that much, put the effort into promoting it right and getting everyone to hear it. Otherwise, you're just kind of utilizing your time for something you want to make, but you're not doing it the right way. So it's something I see a lot, but I have seen a change in it a little bit, a shift a little bit. The more people make that mistake, the more they realize you got to do something different. You can't just make it and drop it.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
And leading up to this Divine project, you haven't just made this project and dropped it. You've actually dropped 2 follow or lead up EPs. That is something that I really want to talk to you about because I think it's interesting and also really smart. It's something I've wanted to see more artists do, so I'm glad that you've done it. What made you go with that idea to begin with? Just the first Throwaways EP, I guess.
I wanted to get music out. I didn't want to do an album at the time, and any crazy singles I wanted to save just in case I wanted to do an album or I wanted to do a push. So I wanted to get music out, man, basically at the end of the day, and I wanted to just go off path and try some different stuff, some auto-tunes, some newer school beats, and get some new music out there.
I mean, and that's a cool thing about the EPs, too, that I don't think people think about. When you're not offering a full body of work, if you try something on that one EP, people might just forget about it. But if they like it, they'll go back to it a lot, and then you know you got something.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. It's all a fishing game at the end of the day with the music, too. Like you said, with Prime Time and, Throwaways, as long as I can do some different stuff, if I see somebody starting to gravitate towards it, then I know I did it well. I can do it again, might want to focus on it type of ordeal. So it's always good to have different music and get some out there just to sit back and see what people gravitate towards.
Yeah, and then you followed up Throwaways with actually a Throwaways 1.5, which wasn't the initial plan, right?
Nah, it wasn't at all. But we had unforeseen circumstances with the studio. We ended up getting a deal and upgrading space, upgrading equipment, everything, and that happened right in the middle of a different project, Principles, that I was doing, and just half of the stuff I wanted sound like Principles, and half of it didn't. So I took the half that didn't, and I made Throwaways.
And that was a smart move, again, at least giving fans something for the time being, because they weren't getting that project but got something, and I thought that this was a really great EP, so I think what you were working on was really dope, but I don't blame you with the upgrade occurring, taking the opportunity to utilize that and getting a better sound from what you've got going on.
Yeah, no, for sure, and it's definitely going to show on my next project. The quality is to sound better. I sound better, more clear, more facts, things of that nature.
That's good to hear, man. And so how has that process been, I guess? Just going from, all right, we're going to scrap some of this project, we're going to change up the name, we're going to change up the vibe of it a little bit. Was that a difficult process, or was it something that just came to you and that you wanted to do?
Yeah, it was definitely difficult. I was torn on what to do. I was just going to shorten Principles and use, like I said earlier, I was going to use what I thought I had for Principles and just release it as a shorter EP. But then just looking at the cover and the name and what I wanted to get across, if I'm going to put out something with Principles, I want it to be super crazy and to the point. Rather than, you know what I'm saying, just all over the place.
Just a catchy name and a cool cover or something. So
it took forever though. We were sitting there, I'm like, yo, I'm about to just release this shit, man. I'm about to go up here, do 2 more in this lane, put it together, and then the other tracks I'll just let sit there or release them as singles or something. But then at the last second, I just got an idea to do the Throwaways 1.5, and I pulled the songs I did like for Principles and put them to the side and just use the rest for Throwaways.
And so how did you decide to change the name from Principles to Divine, right?
Yeah, because Divine, we had pre-planned as the name for the project that I was going to actually push for real. Like I said, we've been in full gathering since 2017. And I think people get misdirected and think that we're giving our best foot forward on everything that we know and can do wise type of thing. But like we knew in the beginning, it was going to take a lot of money for what we're trying to do. And we had to put that in place. So with me not dropping Principles, it kind of ran into the divine time where we feel the time is right and we're ready and to make that push. So we're kind of just going to have to let Principles relax and move into Divine.
And what type of things, I guess, have you done to specifically plan for Divine in terms of pushing it a little bit heavier, I guess?
Um, Budget for sure. We opened up probably a budget the size of what we spent altogether so far. We have a detailed plan for where we're gonna go, what outlets, how we're gonna do things. Um, it's great planning behind it, and more push than we probably ever put behind it. It's gonna be a lot of places.
Well, and it's
So
like it's probably actually like a written out plan too. You know what I mean? It's not just something you think about and you talk about. And to you and me, that sounds and makes a ton of sense. But I know there's a ton of artists who aren't even thinking about a budget. Like the idea of budget doesn't even come into them making their project. They're just making a project with the money they have. They don't say, okay, I'm going to use this amount of money for the project and then this amount of money to promote. That's not even a thought. But then to have a written out full on plan of what you're going to do afterwards is probably very crucial as well.
yeah, now for sure. And it is written out, and we all sit and talk about it and just the general plan. Like I said, we've been putting it together for some years now. And that's what the whole first couple of years going to Atlanta and New York and all them places just to see what work, what don't. If we pay for this promotion, did it work? Who did it hit? Where did it go? Type of things, so we can dial in for when we want to make that major push. And at the same time, I don't feel as an artist I was ready for that push yet, but I feel like the music that I'm making now, it's about time.
Right. So it was like a trial and error circumstance where you were just learning a bunch of stuff and now you're at that point where you're just ready to go with it now.
Yep, exactly.
And so for this project, Divine, do you have a track list set out in terms of how many tracks you have for it, features and stuff like that?
No, our motto with this is go for the best music possible, regardless. Whether it comes to a feature, or whether it's just me, whether I'm on auto tune, whether I'm rapping hard, commercially, just the best music possible. And we're gonna aim for probably 13 to 15. We don't want to go too long, but we want to make it a full complete project.
Yeah, that's smart too. You see it a lot in terms of mainly in mainstream, but where some projects are just getting too long at this point. So 15 is a really good point, right in the middle of that, between too short and too long. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, nah, for sure. We're trying to timing is everything with the album and how you set it up and how long it is and the sequence and all that is a huge part.
Yeah, it's probably another circumstance of just like something you've learned over time and recognized through putting out music and dropping music and just watching the industry as well.
Yeah, nah, I learned a lot from that podcast, just watching and hearing people talk and taking different pointers. I've been implementing it throughout. Like another reason for Throwaways 1.5 was I was trying a pre-save strategy through this new site, and I needed something to try it on. So at the same time, when I'm thinking like I got to put out something, I'm putting out something so I can try this strategy, you know. So it's all trial and error.
No, and that's a really cool thing too that I don't think enough people think about or recognize in terms of if you have a project or maybe not even a project but a bundle of music that you can release in that way just to try something, you might as well because what's the worst that's going to happen? You're just going to have the music sitting on your hard drive anyway.
Yeah, and then it's all quality music at the end of the day, so I ain't mind making it to put out.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a two birds, one stone type of thing.
Right. And so in terms of features on the project, do you have any set in stone yet, or are you reaching out to new people you haven't featured before, maybe from the area?
No, I got a lot set in stone. I'm obviously gonna have that OTM here. He's been on my last couple. He definitely is gonna be on there probably twice. Lamar Lamb probably twice. And it's not gonna be a lot of features, but it's gonna be a lot from the same group of people. When I write my music, I listen to a sound, and if I can hear somebody with it that I'm going for and I can't achieve, then I reach out to them, and I just happen to know a lot of talented people, so I don't really have to reach too far. But I'm hoping also to get my cousin Anna Chalet on there, and I want Cannon probably to finish up my feature.
That's dope, and that's a solid feature list and a solid set of people that you have worked with before, but that you know you can trust to provide what you need for your project.
Yeah, for sure. Because, like I said, the secret to how I'm setting it up and everything, we want it to be perfect if we going all in. And I mean, I know from past experience that they deliver. So
Right, and it makes sense to include someone like Anthony Cannon from from a different area, just to sort of cross borders a little bit, get that sound over in another area, as all artists should, really.
yeah, nah, for sure. That's been something that's helped me 100%. Talking with Cannon, him talking about, he told me a while back that I should just start reaching out and doing features. So that's what I started doing. With random, just mad features this year. I got a lot of songs this year, bro. I ain't even going that's in rotation, that like even that songs with artists that people didn't necessarily look for. You know what I'm saying? I probably got like a good 70 songs out.
It's been a
Like
busy
20
year, bro, and
features.
that's either what people have done. It's been one way or the other, where they've either stayed busy throughout the whole pandemic or sort of fallen back, taken the opportunity for a break. But it's the people who took the time to learn and try new things that are really going to prosper when this thing is over.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. But yeah, definitely reaching out definitely help spread my name and just get me noticed by people I probably would have flew under the radar with if it wasn't for networking and doing those features.
Yeah, and it just helps to, one, create that relationship with the artist, but then to create the relationship with their fan base as well, because they're checking for the song. So you're gonna reach a whole new group of people regardless. So it makes sense, but again, it's one of those things you don't see enough in Upstate of the artists working together. I've seen it more lately, but when I first started doing this, it wasn't happening as much.
Yeah, y'all kind of opened up the platform though for it over there. With the contest and then just doing the general blog and podcast. Y'all helping artists find other artists. You know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah, well,
more
it
shit
helps.
like this opens up. Them networking forums just keep popping up and it's gonna keep spreading.
Facts. Well, and it's like work to it too. You know, a lot of artists don't necessarily want to dig through 20 or 30 local artists to see which ones are good, so they can tune into the show and find out which ones are good, and that helps them know who to want to work with and who to reach out to, who to aspire to work with if they're just getting into it. So I think it helps across the board.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm seeing that just a little bit already, so it's definitely good shit.
No doubt. It's one of my favorite parts of doing this is just being able to connect with and network with artists, get to know them, get them to know other people and see those features happen that I know it's two people that I know didn't know each other before all of this. So it's one of the things that I'm most proud of with Upstate Aesthetic, and I know the other blogs help contribute to a lot of that as well.
Yeah, no, facts.
And then is there anything else you necessarily want to talk about with Divine in terms of like, are you working with the same producers and everything like that?
Yeah, I kind of narrowed it down, so I'm be working with. Usually when I do my projects, it's wide open. I'm be working with like two producers only, unless maybe a third, and we just getting back to the essence, man. It's gonna be different in a way, but it's gonna probably be my best music yet. Ain't no probably. It's definitely gonna be my best music yet, and I think it's gonna be more widely spread than the rest of my music. Um, Less clicky. There's gonna be a song for everybody on there probably, but it's not gonna be at my element. Like it's not gonna be all the way prime time song for everybody on there.
Right.
But I'm gonna make sure I do it right.
And do you think like doing those features have helped you, one, get better and just sort of also helped your versatility and changing your sound a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. It's that's another part of it that comes with doing them features that I liked is when I was reaching out to do them collabs and everything, I was telling people just send me what you got. Like they was like, yeah, let me know what you want. I'm like, nah, I kind of want your vibe. Just send your vibe over here, type of ordeal. And it's funny because people don't be expecting it sometimes. Like Mir sent me I know handouts. I sent him the beat and everything. He sent me back a rap verse, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing, bro? Like, I don't, you don't rap. He was like, oh no, I just thought you was gonna come with them bars. I'm like, bitch, I got auto tune on. You don't get a nigga to sing like you usually do. But yeah, nah, it's different. So like, it's cool seeing other artists put me on their plateau kind of and their musical feel and seeing what I could do with it.
That's dope, man. It's good to hear. I'm definitely looking forward to Divine. You don't have a set time frame for that, right? Just probably next year, early, late this year.
Yeah, I want to go with March.
March.
April, definitely March, April. We kind of just creating and not trying to put no cap on it right now.
Nah, you shouldn't. With the plan that you have for it, the fact that you have dropped a ton, not a ton, but a lot of music this year, you've put out enough for people to be sufficed. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason to rush it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have some Lucy's and other little slick EPs in between, probably, to be honest, because like I said, with Divine, I'm going for a certain direction and the best music. So for the other stuff, when I get into different moods and I'll probably just be releasing that or collabing with some other artists just to get that itch out the way.
Facts. And if anyone's looking for music soon, you will have that project with Dot probably coming at some point before the year's over, at least, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Nah, it's going to be here soon.
All right, I just don't want to put a date on you for no reason, but no, that's cool. I'm looking forward to that. I love Dot's music. I love your music. So together, I'm excited to see what you guys have planned for a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more of a full-length project, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a slight high-end EP with 8 tracks.
8 tracks, yeah.
Yeah, we had me and him. We got like 4 mixtapes back when we was growing up together, type shit. And ever since we started doing it for real, we didn't get into it. But yeah, it was good to get that in and just get that feeling back with me, him, and Cap in there and making music together and pumping this out.
Dope, man. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Divine, everything you have coming up. You want to go ahead and plug your social media, let people know where they can find you, and we'll get out of here?
Yes, sir. IG, MBK _Richy, Facebook, MBK Richy, YouTube, MBK Richy, Google, MBK Richy, all the DSPs, MBK Richy, man. Look me up. There's something for everybody on there. Good music, good content, man. Appreciate y'all.
I don't talk about it enough, but consistency is key, and the fact you're consistent across all those is actually super important. So shout out to that. I'm going to play 30 seconds of How It Ends off of Throwaways 1.5. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another dope interview.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Shit in.
Woke up this morning, noticed I wanted more. Every time I do the math, money the common call. Showing love the strength, and it's time to settle scores. I start zoning soon as Cap come in and hit record. Dreams bigger than the brain in the cage with Pinky. We about to take over the world, nigga, fuck the city. Already took over your girl, now she fucking with me. She'll probably set your ass up to get some luck with me. Why do you think that I wrote this? They expect fire like you do in the stove flick. Catalog a walk-in freezer, nothing in it but cold shit. I can handle y'all with my old shit. Bars hitting harder than the Ross or coat sniffs. Think that they knows this. My resume long as my whole list. Check marks going down the side of my goal list. Think I touch the sliders cause the shots always go in. Fuck a fake friend, dog, I'd rather have no friends.